Welcome back. How are we doing? How are we getting on? How are we getting on? How are we progressing? I think maybe this last chapter helped you to understand a little bit better. Now we're going to off, okay? I would like to make one little comment about pronunciation. Many times people have some questions on how to differentiate between this word and this. Okay, off, off. And the second word is the f sound is much more accentuated. In any case, it is very, very common for this word to be pronounced of. Okay, villages of this area or wines of this area, for example, problems of this nature, whereas off is always pronounced off with a very accentuated F sound. Okay, so let's carry on. What does off add to each of these sentences? I'm going to give you the answer now. Off in all of these gives the sensation of away. This is confusing because we know from the prepositions of movement that off is the opposite of on. The cat jumped off the table, and away is to another place. Unfortunately, and I have to apologize for this, in this case off is very similar to away. It means to another place, to another place. So let's look at the first example. My friend saw me at the airport. Do you know why he saw me at the airport? Because I work at the airport. He saw me at the airport. I work in a restaurant at the airport, and so it is natural and it is normal that he saw me. Okay? But he saw me off. This is different. It means that my friend came with me to the airport and he saw me off. I was leaving, he stayed, and he said goodbye to me. Do you remember in the last chapter we talked about I was going to stop, but the police waved me on. With their hand, they signaled that I was to continue. We could do something very similar with this. My friend waved me off at the airport. What does this mean? My friend waved me off at the airport. Pues, in this case, instead of waving me on, he is waving me off. He is saying goodbye. He is saying goodbye because I am going to another place. Off is that I am going to another place. Marco Polo set off from Venice in 1271. He left. He left. We generally use set off not to go to work, but for a journey. Okay. Tomorrow I have a flight at 11 o'clock in the morning, but I have to get to the airport 2 hours early, and the airport is 3 hours away. This means I have to set off early. To set off. It is to leave for a journey. Okay. The robbers ran out of the bank. Ran out of the bank. We saw this before. Went out of the bank running, other languages would say, and drove away. What is the difference between drive off and drive away? There is no difference. There is no difference. He walked off, he walked away. She cycled off, she cycled away. It is exactly the same. Our plane takes off early tomorrow morning. I'm sure you know this phrasal verb. A plane lands and a plane takes off. But you probably haven't thought of the reason why off, because off means to a different place. Okay? This is a little bit more difficult. Okay? So, his mum is in hospital, so they've put the wedding off. They put the wedding to a different place. What does that mean? That means to postpone. To postpone something. You take the wedding and you put it to another place, to another date. You postpone the wedding. With that in mind, I also have to give you one phrasal verb free of charge. I don't know if we can fit it very easily into the question of off, but I will give it to you. Put off is to postpone. Call off is to cancel. So, if somebody tells you that the wedding has been put off, it's unfortunate, it's sad, but it's not a big problem. In 4 months, the wedding will take place. If you say that the wedding has been called off, this is very sad. This means that probably that the relationship has finished. There is no wedding. Good. Then the next chapter, we will talk about out. You are going to ask me, but we have already seen out. We have seen out, the opposite of in. We have talked about out publicly, to speak out, to read out, to send out, to give out. But unfortunately, and again I apologize, there is also another meaning for out. We will see it in the next chapter.